Hello, dear students. Welcome back. Today, let's talk about a very touching tale, The Last Leaf, written by O. Henry. Before we understand the story or talk about it, let's talk about the author first of all. This story, Last Leaf, is written by O. Henry, who was born in the year 1862. He was an American writer of short stories, known for his ironic plot, twists, and surprise. He published 10 collections of stories. Let's have a look at his famous stories. The Gift of the Magi, The Furnished Room, and The Ransom of Red Chief are some of his famous short stories. Children, very often we find people having a negative attitude of life. They lose interest in life, and this causes suffering to people surrounding them. They are even ready to lose their life, as life has lost all meaning for them. The story Last Leaf tells the need to hone a positive attitude towards life so that we can make it as fruitful as possible. Having negative approach towards life doesn't help at all. Also, sacrificing our life for the sake of others is also one of the major themes in this story. The Last Leaf is a fine story by O. Henry, where an old artist sacrifices his life to save the life of a young girl by giving her will to live, hope to live. It's quite interesting the way it has been written. Let's have a look at the message conveyed to each one of us through this story. The chief message the story gives is the spirit of sacrifice we need to have in our life. The old artist Berman sacrificed his life so that Chauncey could live. In the process, he also achieved his ambition of painting a masterpiece. The other message is that we should have a positive attitude in life. We always need to be optimistic because there is hope for everyone. You need to look for it. Chauncey was under depression and she felt her life was linked with the leaves of the ivy creeper. This prevented her from getting cured of her illness. And this way she was also causing harm to her friend Sue. Had she adopted a positive attitude, Berman would not have died. Our thinking affects the life of other people too, and it's quite true. So after talking about the message, let's have a look at the title. Let's see if the title is justified or not. The story revolves around Chauncey and her belief that her life is linked to the leaves of the ivy creeper. The leaves of the ivy creeper were falling fast. Chauncey, the sick girl, feels that she would die as soon as the last leaf would fall from the ivy creeper. One night, only one leaf remained on the ivy. It would fall the same night. The old artist Berman decides to go out in the rain and paint an artificial leaf as soon as the last leaf falls. So, since the life of Johnsy depends upon the last leaf, the title is appropriate. The last leaf on the ivy helps one person to survive. But yes, at the same time it results in the death of another person, which is really sad. Let's have a look at the characters involved in the story. It has three main characters: Sue, Johnsy, and Mr. Berman. If we look at Berman's character, he was a 60-year-old painter. He lived in the ground floor of the house where Sue and Johnsy lived. He had been thinking of painting a masterpiece. Sue told him about the condition of Johnsy. Johnsy felt that she would die once the last leaf fell from the ivy creeper. Berman thought of a plan to save Johnsy. He went out in the rainy night and painted a picture of leaf on the ivy. Johnsy saw the leaf the next morning and got back her will to live. But Berman died of pneumonia because he had been out all night in the cold. Thus, Berman made the supreme sacrifice of giving up his life for the sake of another person. He was a great soul, undoubtedly. And in this process, he achieved his ambition of painting a masterpiece. Because he always wanted to do that. So by giving someone hope to live, will to live, he actually painted his masterpiece, which he always wanted to. After talking about Berman's character, let's talk about Johnsy. She was a struggling painter by profession who shared her lodgings with a fellow painter, Sue. The two shared common interests and were good friends. Johnsy was ill. She was under depression. She was a bad patient. She was superstitious. Johnsy had the fancy idea that she would die once the last leaf on the ivy creeper outside her window would fall down. The leaves were falling down very fast. Only one leaf remained. She felt that the last leaf would fall that night and she would die. But Berman went out in the cold night and painted a leaf on the wall. Johnsy saw this leaf the next morning and got her will to live. But her foolish attitude led to the death of Berman. She was a weak-hearted woman, but she was quick to realize her faults and worked hard towards mending her ways. Thus, when she saw the leaf clinging to the creeper, she realized that she had been irrational and a source of trouble to her roommate. Thus, Johnsy was a self-motivated and reformed individual who strove hard to quash her weakness and rise above her superstition. If we talk about Sue, he was a young artist who lived with her friend Johnsy. She was also an artist who was struggling to support her friend in her illness. She tried to advise Chauncey and help her during her illness by taking good care of her. But Chauncey would not listen to her. She was adamant. Sue sought the help of Berman to solve the issue. Berman solved the problem by painting a leaf in the wall and by giving Chauncey hope to live, a will to survive. So we find that Sue is a true friend of Chauncey. Plot analysis. So children, you all know that this is a short story written by O. Henry. So you all can see the exposition and the rising action, the climax, falling action and resolution. So this way, let's have a look at the plot. If we look at the exposition, Sue and Chauncey shared a flat on the third story of an old house. If we look at the rising action, Chauncey thought that she would die when the last ivy leaf fell. So this was the rising action in the story, which led to the conflict in the story. If we look at the climax, Chauncey learned a lesson from the last leaf, that it is sin to want to die. Let's have a look at the falling action. The doctor told Sue that Chauncey would recover, but Berman got pneumonia and there was no hope for him. Resolution. Sue told Chauncey that Berman had sacrificed his life for the sake of her. So this is how the story comes to an end. The last leaf. Undoubtedly, it's a touching tale. I hope you all enjoyed and understood. Let's have a look at some important questions. So these questions can be asked in exam. Do you think the feeling of depression Chauncey has is common among teenagers? Berman has a dream. What is it? Does it come true? What efforts did Sue make to keep Chauncey cheerful? Why did the last leaf not fall? You have to live for your friend. Who said to whom and why? So these are some short answer questions which you all can attempt. Now here is a list of some long answer questions. The last leaf is a story of supreme sacrifice. Discuss. Describe the role of Sue in saving her friend's life. Explain how she played the role of a trusted friend. Same question can be asked this way. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Do you think the story The Last Leaf supports this statement? Negative attitude and pessimism can destroy. Describe what had happened to Chauncey with regard to the story The Last Leaf. So these are some long answer type questions which you all can attempt. So that was all about The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourself. Bye.